Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
A warm welcome to Beth Israel at the first of our two joint Shabbat B'Yachad services this year. Shabbat B'Yachad means Shabbat together. I am Rabbi Michael Feshbach from Beth Israel.
And I am Cantor Jackie Menaker, the Reformed Spiritual Leader of Shirat Hayam.
We are really thrilled to be together for this, to give us the chance to work together, to bring our communities together, and we hope that you are lifted up and touched and inspired by the service this morning as well. Anything else to welcome?
I think I may have said it all. Well, there's more to come.
That's rarely the case.
More to come. Bruchim Habaim, welcome, and Shabbat Shalom.
Page 188, how good it is to be together. Hine Matov.
Hine Matov U'Manayim, Shevatachim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov U'Manayim, Shevatachim Gam Yachad. One more time. Hine Matov U'Manayim, Shevatachim Gam Yachad. 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 Hine Matov U'Manayim, Shevatachim Gam Yachad.
Pages 184 or 185 in personal prayer. When we refer to page numbers, it's the page numbers in the brackets.
As we come into our holy space, this welcoming space, a place of love and connection, we say, how beautiful are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel, and reflect on blessings upon blessings. We continue with page 192, Ma Tovu. Please join us. Ma Tovu. Ma Tovu. Israel, Ma Tov.
195. Together. Don't let me fall, as a stone falls upon the hard ground. And don't let my hands become dry, as the twigs of a tree, when the wind beats down the last leaves, and when the storm raises dust from the earth, with anger and howling, don't let me fall. I have asked for so much, but as a blade of your grass in a distant wild field, let's drop a seed in the lap of the earth and dies away. Sow in me your living breath, as you sow a seed. Because I like physics, the top of page 197, before Cantor Menaker takes over again with Elohai Neshama. Matter is never destroyed, only transformed. So too can the soul evolve higher and higher, from instinct to inspiration, haughtiness to holiness, selfishness to service, from individualism to union, to join with the soul of souls, the infinite one. As the soul is magnified and sanctified. Back to 196.
Elohai neshama shenatata bi tihorahi. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tihorahi. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tihorahi. In the sense of purity of the soul and the blank page in which we begin, we acknowledge the blessings which are abundant, even if we might not see them as we first open our eyes. We continue on page 198, and I'll invite you to respond in, we'll do a little bit of the Hebrew into the English. We will be pausing at the third bracha, the third blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day and night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim, matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Free the captives, free the captives. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who lifts up the fallen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who stretches the earth over the waters. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who strengthens our steps. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who clothes the naked. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who gives strength to the weary. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, who crowns Israel with splendor.
Page 204, Baruch ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asot b'divrei Torah. Bottom of 205, from the cowardice that shrinks from new truth, from the laziness that is content with half-truths, from the arrogance that thinks it knows all truth. O God of truth, deliver us. Blessed is Adonai, teacher of Torah to your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, hamelamed Torah la'amot Yisrael.
We are gathered together to engage in Torah, in words of Torah, but in mitzvot as well. Please join me as we continue on the top of page 206. Elu divarim she'ein lahem shi'or, she'adam ochel perotehem ba'olam hazeh, ve'hakeren kayemet lo la'olam haba, ve'elu hein, as we continue in the middle of the page together. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are
Honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
Talmud Torah keneged kulam. We transition into Pesuke de Zimra, into Psalms of Praise, a favorite melody of mine for Ashrei on page 215. Ashrei yoshvei beitecha, od yehallelucha selah. Ashrei yoshvei beitecha, od yehallelucha. Second part. Ashrei, Ashrei, Ashrei yoshvei beitecha. Great. Ashrei, Ashrei, Ashrei yoshvei beitecha. Third part. Happy are those who dwell in your house. They will sing your praises forever. Happy are those who dwell in your house. They shall sing your praises forever. Pick apart. Ashrei yoshvei beitecha, od yehallelucha selah. Ashrei yoshvei beitecha, od yehallelucha selah. Ashrei, Ashrei, Ashrei yoshvei beitecha. Ashrei, Ashrei, Ashrei yoshvei beitecha. Continue on the bottom of page
Page, where are you?
260.
Okay, go ahead.
תהילת אדוני ידבר פיhi, ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד. ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם. הללויה.
So, page 220, aspirationally for the future. I want you to picture the scene. It is not Jerusalem. It is Tel Aviv. 30 years ago, 20 years ago, if you had told me that Reform and conservative rabbis would be leaving Jerusalem to go to Tel Aviv for Shabbat, I would have said you were insane. And yet now there is one spot, there is one place, there is one group. During July and August, at the port of Tel Aviv, right on the ocean, with curious Israelis walking by, taking up a chair. They're in bikinis. They were going to the beach. They don't know what's going on. They encounter 800 people coming together. Music, people from Argentina, from North America, from Europe, from all over the Jewish world, and Israelis coming together in a new prayer group called Beit Tfilah Yisrael. And there they sing and they celebrate Beatles tunes, or even in set to Hebrew, She'ani roeh b'chaloni. When I look out my window, az ani amar la'atzmi, so I say to myself, Eza ochla olam, with an Arabic word, what a wonderful world. But then also, maybe by the spring we will sing on 222, 220, Ilu finu, Malay Shirat, Hayam. So let's look at the English, appropriate for us in our island communities. Page 220 together. Even if our mouths were full of song as the sea, and our tongues full of joy in countless ways, and our lips full of praise as wide as the sky's expanse, and were our eyes to shine like sun and moon, if our hands were spread out like heaven's eagles, and our feet swift like young deer, we could never thank you adequately, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, to bless your name for a 10,000th of the many myriads of times you granted favor to our ancestors and to us. And so we jump now to 224 for Chatzi Kaddish. Our custom is to rise and face east for Chatzi Kaddish, continuing on into Baruch Hu, and then we will face each other after that.
יתקדש ויתקדש מרבה, בעלמא דיברה חירותי, וימליך מלכותי, וחייכם יומכם, וחיי לכל בית ישראל. בהדרה, ובזמן קריב, ואמרו
standing but face each other. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvorei choshech, oseh shalom uvorei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha b'rachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reshit, ma'arabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam mechochma asita, ma'ala ha'aretz kinyanecha. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al ma'orei or she'asita yifa'arucha sela, or chadash al Zion ta'ir, v'nizkechu lanu mehera la'oho, Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer ha'morot. Page 230, the top paragraph in English, and then continuing in Hebrew. How deeply you have loved us, Adonai our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion, on account of our forebears whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life. Be gracious to us, teaching us as well. Merciful One, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah.
Deep breath in, and we exhale, and we breathe in again, and release. Shema. Adonai,
page 239.
Emet, there is no place where you are not. Even in the wilderness, there is your word.
Emet, that pen strokes of lightning, white fire, black flame, stir the soul's passion, guide our sacred way. True and enduring is Torah.
Your truth for us is certain and established, now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel, we sing out and we rejoice. Continuing on page 240, a melody written by a dear friend of mine, Cantor Dan Singer at the Wise Free Synagogue in New York City.
Because we are the Reform part of Shirat Hayam and the Reform Beth Israel coming together, I do want to teach something in case you ever happen to find yourself around a conservative Jew. Might happen someday. That's not gonna happen. The paragraph which transitions from Michamocha into the Amidah begins the last paragraph on 240, Sur Yisrael, which we will chant in a moment. But the third word there is a word you know. You know from David, Melech Yisrael, Chai, Chai, Hayam. Hayam means exist, but it also means sort of stand up. And you also know Shehechianu, Kiyamanu, Kimianu. It means who sustained us, who's brought us to this place. The Hebrew word for existentialism is komamiyut, from the same root. And so here the third word is kuma. And so sometimes in a conservative or Orthodox setting, when chanting this, sometimes in Reform, but not always, On the third word, you'll see people stand up. So that's why it means Rock of Israel, arise. And so sometimes you don't have to, you can, but sometimes people will get up on the third word. So we continue with the traditional chant of Tzur Yisrael, which leads us into the Tefillah.
The Amidah, which of course we're standing for.
Right.
Beautiful. Tzur Yisrael, Kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, Uvtehinu mechad, Yehuda ve'Yisrael. Go'aleinu, Adonai tziva'ot shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai.
Rise and we face Margate, Jerusalem, and we face east.
reflecting for a moment in the very earliest moments prior to my cantorate, in my early days of study, I had the good fortune to study with Bon Yeshua of blessed memory at Hebrew Union College in the Cincinnati campus. There are melodies that stick with you a lifetime, and in my Jewish clergy lifetime, this melody, accompanied by Tom, bringing us to the Kedusha, the holiness, that pinnacle of our Amidah together, brings such comfort and such joy.
Yismachu, the top of page 250.
Yisrael. Shalom.
Amen.
Amen.
Continue for another moment of personal prayer. Say Shalom, the bottom of page 260. Service during which we are taking the Sefer Torah, the Torah scroll, from the Aron HaKodesh, from the Holy Ark, and we will be hearing a little bit about the meaning of this week's portion from Cantor Menaker, as well as chanting from the words of the Torah scroll itself. As we prepare for the Torah service, we ask our first set of Ark door openers to come forward, our Torah holder to come towards the bima, and those who are helping prepare the scroll to be read, to undress the scroll, to please come to about where I am now and sort of hang out here while we, take the Torah into the street and down and Margate and order out for pizza and come back and bring the Torah back to us.
I wanted to be here this morning.
As we continue with Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for the reading of Torah, page 362, please rise.
Yeah.
bar or bat mitzvah is this. This is the Torah. 3,500 years ago, according to our people's tradition, it entered our people's spiritual life and has remained the center of our spiritual consciousness ever since. In the metaphor of transmission, we read in Pirkei Avot, the ethics of the ancestors. Moses received the Torah at Sinai and passed it on to Joshua, and Joshua to the elders, and the elders to the men and women of the great assembly, and on down through all the generations of prophets and poets and sages and psalmists who have taken its teaching and brought its meaning to its own time, until at last it comes to the arms of the present generation, which for purposes of this service you count as the present generation, until at last it comes to the arms of the Cinderbrand family. Page 366, Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shema, Nanu Lanayiti, Umrom Naman Shemo Yatav, Lecha Adonai Hagidula, Vehagivura, Vehatifer, Vehanetzach, Vehahod, Ki chod b'shamayim v'aretz, Ki chod b'shamayim v'aretz, Lecha Adonai Ha'amalacha, Ve'ani Na'aseh, V'chod v'rosh. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu le'ar kodsho. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu le'ar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimu. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu le'ar kodsho. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu le'ar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimu.
Please be seated.
Well, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
What an awe-inspiring experience to be here amongst each and every one of you this morning. We started off with a beautiful, beautiful Torah study that took us around the world, islands in the stream, so to speak, and beyond. What was also a blessing in the Torah study was that slowly we incorporated some of our community from afar into that moment as well. A fusion of our communities, of our history, who we are, the best of who we are, is really exemplified this morning. And I thought for a bit, especially after focusing on the first few words and the first few verses of chapter 23 in the book of Genesis, as we're coming into this place of Chayei Sarah, what is striking me this morning in this holy place with this community and my connection to it? Avraham, the first Jewish leader, not the only one. But at the beginning of Parashat Chayei Sarah, literally matriarch. We learn of the death of our matriarch at the ripe old age of 127. And through the pain of his grief, in his deep, uncommunicative grief, Abraham, the first Jewish leader, is finally able to answer that much earlier call he received from God when he's go forth, lech lecha. He was able to respond at this moment and act. At the age of 137, Abraham had still none of the land that he was told he and his people would inherit. Nor did he see necessarily at that point the lineage that would continue that God had promised him. But when Sarah died, he acted. He was driven by the importance of his part of the divine promise, but he was also motivated. He was also motivated by what we call the leave-taking experience of the traumatic loss of his beloved Sarah. So what does he do? He buys land. That's essential. He purchases land. He engages in a haggle, in a business transaction with the Hittites and calling upon Ephron to make sure he's speaking with the leader and signing on the dotted line to ensure that the future land rights, the land at Machpelah in Hebron, Mamre, is part of the legacy of Am Yisrael. He insists that he purchases the land, and he is negotiating in the deepest throes of his grief. He hasn't had time. He mourned, it's recognized, but we don't know how long, and we don't know what kind of fog he may have been in. Following which, in the next chapter, in chapter 24, Abraham acts once again. And he sets by in this acting to ensure his legacy. And he sets that plan in motion to find a wife for his beloved son, his precious son, his son Isaac, who is also grieving. He's grieving for much, I would imagine. The loss of his beloved mother, and perhaps the trauma that he's been through in his life. When he acts again and sets aside, Abraham steps into his role as leader. He doesn't put his feet up on the couch. He's not reading the Sunday paper and enjoying retirement. No retirement for the father of our people. He arranges for a servant to find an appropriate wife for his son, someone he may have something in common with, perhaps from his ancestral home, and his father secures ultimately that legacy he had been promised. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks of blessed memory said, "That is what leaders understand, and it is what made Abraham the first Jewish leader. Leaders take responsibility for creating the conditions through which God's purposes can be fulfilled. They're not passive, they're active, even in old age, like Abraham in this week's Parsha. We often reflect on the need for passing the duties and responsibilities of Jewish communal leadership to the next generations, and there was a shout out to that on the Bima this morning. It's necessary, but we also understand the role of leadership at mature age. We are certainly aware, all of us, Shirat Hayam, at Beth Israel, all are aware of the changing demographics here on the mainland and down the shore. It's a real reality check, and we are aware of this. But perhaps this is the time that calls all of us to our highest. Perhaps in spite of some of the challenges of older age, such experiencing and dealing with devastating loss on too regular a basis, visiting health professionals more than our friends and family, and managing chronic pain, just to name a few things, we learn that Abraham's late-in-life leadership reminds us that the best may yet to come. That shift happens with Abraham is a renewed sense of purpose and the importance of that divine mission which he had been told so long ago. When I applied to rabbinical school at the age of 55, I acknowledge that my once, believe it or not, photographic memory, my eyesight, my hearing, my arthritis, and my energy had shifted somewhat, a little bit, since my early 20s. However, I have discovered that my resolve, my empathy, my drive, my capacity to love, my learned experience, and the desire to do good in this world has only grown. At the cusp of 60 and on the cusp of rabbinical ordination, in such a divisive world that spews hate without dialogue, I have actively chosen to live and model a life of Jewish joy. It's only been affirmed now as my life's mission. But most of us here this morning are here because we have some connection to Judaism in our lives. We are devoted to our congregations, our congregational families, and we have created spiritual and learning environments for ourselves, for our children, and for their children. We too are following that call. We couldn't give of our physical and emotional and spiritual lives in this way if the stakes were not as high as they truly are. If nothing else is apparent since October 7th, 2023, in a world that has been marked by polarization, lack of empathy, widespread overt anti-Semitism, we are called not only to our higher selves, but like Avraham Avinu, Abraham our father, our older and more experienced selves, to lead, to inspire, and to model lifelong pursuit of our dearly held Jewish values. Chazak, chazak, v'nitchazek. May each of us continue to strengthen one another in our great Jewish community and beyond, with a vigor not just undimmed, but enhanced by age. Shabbat shalom. As we continue with the reading of Torah, I direct you to the sheet. Is there a sheet?
There is a sheet.
I just want to make sure that
Torah
everybody's
and Haftarah one.
terrific. And I'd like to invite Yamdu. Miriam Bat, Maris, and Ta'amod and Ya'amod, Zalman ben Zayshin, Gerson, Zalman ben Gerson.
And the Aliyah card is on them.
Yeah, that's great. Here we go. Continuing with the bracha, the Torah blessing, before our reading.
Shema'eni natati kesef hasadeh kach mimeni ve'ekbera et meti shama vayan Ephron et Avraham lemor lo Adoni Shema'eni Eretz Arba Me'ot Shekel Kesef Beni Uvencha Mahi Ve'et Metacha Kivor Vayishma Abraham El Ephron Vayishkol Avraham le'Ephron et hakesef asher diber be'oznei b'nei chet arba me'ot shekel kesef avor lasocher.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tokeinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Who's covered?
Hine matovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, ya la 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 la. Hine matov, ya la 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 la. Hine matovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Page 371. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'Imotenu Sarah Rachel v'Leah v'Yivarech v'Yirapeh et hacholim ha'eleh. O God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, send your blessing and healing, your comfort and your hope to all those who are isolated and alone, to those who are in need of our attention and our love, to all those whose names we are about to recite who are in need of healing. And we mention at this time, in the prayer for healing,
Stephen Katachi.
Linda Goffler.
David Wetzel, Cindy Kaplan, Gerald Bolger.
Fred Mary.
John Russell.
Betty and John and James.
David Ben Milion, Marisha Eisenberg.
Joan Julia, Maya Weiss, Courtney Black.
Harry Martyr, Jill Wood, Cynthia Baylor, Carla Gash, Marilyn Burnson. Baruch atah Adonai Rofeh Cholim. We praise you, O God, who helps us heal, who brings us comfort.
We continue together, and this is responsive.
Mi sheberach avotenu Abraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov.
Inside the cover or the back cover.
Mi sheberach imotenu Sarah Rivka Leah v'Rachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer. us courage, give us faith, show us the way. Mi shevera chamotenu, mi shevera himotenu. Hear our prayer, 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 and bless us as well. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well.
Our Torah holder and Torah dressers, please come forward. And you want this side, please? You can hold it. Okay, fine. So, and then sit with it for a little while.
Please do not wait.
I will not. The question is whether I can lift it with it all the way on the left like this. Can you get it for a second? Please rise.
Mizot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe.
Al Shlosha
Divarim, al shlosha divarim, al shlosha divarim, olam omeid. Al shlosha divarim, al shlosha divarim, al shlosha divarim, olam omeid. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim.
And so we are once more into the fray. One state now requires the Ten Commandments to be displayed in public school classrooms. Another has just passed a curriculum optional, they say, but they'll pay you $60 per student to a school district for offering Bible lessons in public schools. I remember Rabbi David Saperstein saying at one point that he thought that having the Ten Commandments as some kind of visual muzak on the background of our classrooms will do about as much good for morality in our schools as having the Gideon Bible in the drawer does for morality in our motel rooms. And you know, the thing is, these people who want prayer in school, have they prayed? The people who want Bible read in school, here's the key question. Have they read the Bible? I mean, really? I mean, you know, Song of Songs? Or more to the point, what do you make of this week's Haftarah portion? I understand the connection between the Torah portion and the Haftarah portion this week, which we'll point out in a moment. It's an easy one. What I don't understand is what this story is doing in the Bible in the first place. Chapter 1, verse 1 of the book of Kings. Now the connection is obvious. I'll get to that in a second. But this opening story, King David is old, he's feeling cold, so they go out and they find a nubile young virgin to keep him warm. Now look, it does say he was not intimate with her, but that may have been more a reflection of ability than intent. What is this story doing in the Bible? That is a story for another time. why people think that just reading the Bible look, we met somebody the other day at Reed Farm, and she had a devotional, and she had her Bible, and she's studying the Bible privately, and look, I'm a religious leader, I think this is great, but, sometimes I want to say, don't attempt this at home. In Jewish tradition it says, find yourself a partner and find yourself a rabbi. Some of this stuff needs some guidance anyway. It's a whole different world, the ancient Near East. What is clear from this portion is that figuring out how to transition from one administration to another is not a modern problem. This is about the succession from David to what eventually becomes Solomon, but let's just say that there were some contested ballots along the way. And in addition to the story which we see partly here in the handout, in addition to that story, the connection with the Torah portion. Not only is this the story of the death of a great leader, and our Torah portion opens with the death of Abraham and closes, the death of Sarah and closes with the death of Abraham. Not only is it about the death of a great leader, but the opening words of this Haftarah. V'hamelech David zakein ba bayamim. David was old, advanced in years, are an exact echo of the phrase at the beginning of Genesis chapter 24, V'avraham zakein ba bayamim. Old and advanced in years. So not only is it about the death of a great leader, but also what happens when we age. And that question, as Cantor Menaker beautifully taught us a few minutes ago, is one which we face throughout history, in our lives, in our own personal journeys. The Haftarah portion, chapter 1, verse 1 of the book of Kings. The blessing is on... I can lead the blessing, but then Cantor Menaker, we'll do it together, and then Cantor Menaker will chant the Hebrew of this strange but still interesting Haftarah portion. What it's doing in the Bible, I think, is so we can ask the question, what is this doing in the Bible? The blessing is on page 370, is that right?
254 in this Lim book. That's all I know.
Oh, I always refer to the brackets, and by the way, I'm responsible for the brackets. You're welcome. Because when the Reform movement was going to print two different editions of Mishkan Tefillah, the thick one and the slim one, they were going to make no reference from one to the other. And I was not alone, but I screamed and I cried and I shried and I wrote 12 letters and I made 15 phone calls. And finally the brackets emerged as a compromise. You're welcome.
We learn something new every day.
So, page 372 in the brackets, 254 if you're using the unmediated page number. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emerim be'emet Baruch atah Adonai Abocher b'Torah u'v'Moshe Abdo u'Yisrael Amo u'v'Nbi'ei ha'emet v'atzedek.
As I continue on my enlarged, visually clearer, illuminated version of the Haftarah, because I couldn't read the font and the pointing on the regular one.
Aging.
V'hamelech David zakein b'bayamim v'ychasuhu b'bgadim v'lo yicham lo v'yomru lo avadav yivakshu la doni hamelech na'arav
ויבקשו נערה יפה בכל גבול ישראל, וימצאו את אבישג השונמית, ויביאו אותה למלך. והנערה יפה עד מאוד, ותהי למלך סוכנת, ותשתהו, והמלך לא ידעך. ואדוניה בן חגית, מתנשא לאמור, אני אמלוך, ויעש לו רכב ופרשים, ו50 איש רצים לפניו. ולא עצבו אביו מימיו לאמור, מדוע ככה עשית? וגם הוא טוב תואר מאוד, ואותו ילדה אחרי אבשלום. ויהיו דבריו עם יואב בן צרויה, ועם אביתר הכהן, ויעזרו אחרי אדוניה. וצדוק הכהן ובניהו בן יהוידע ונתן הנביא ושמעי ורעי והגיבורים אשר לדוד לא היו עם אדוניהו. ויזבח אדוניהו צאן ובקר ומרים עם אבן הזוחלת אשר אצל עין רוגל. ויקרא את כל אחיו בני המלך ולכל אנשי יהודה עבדי המלך, ואת נתן הנביא ובניהו, ואת הגיבורים, ואת שלמה אחיו לא קרא. ויאמר נתן אל בת שבע אם שלמה לאמור, הלא שמעת כי מלך אדוניהו בן חגית ואדוננו דוד לא ידע. ואתה לכי יעצך נא עצה, ומלאתי את נפשך ואת נפש בנך שלמה. לכי ובואי אל המלך דוד, ואמרת אליו, הלא אתה אדוני המלך נשבעת לאמתך לאמור, כי שלמה בנך ימלוך אחרי, והוא ישב על כיסאי. ומדוע מלך אדוניהו geret sham im hamelech vayani avo acharayich umileti et divarayich.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol ha'olamim, tzadik b'chol ha'dorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer v'oseh, ha'mdaber v'kayem, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah, v'al ha'nevi'im, v'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, שנתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל, אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך. יתברך שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה, אדוני, מקדש השבת. We go in a moment, but Yeshua, we go to returning the Sefer Torah to the Ark, page 374. Please rise. Let us praise the name of the Eternal, for God's name alone is exalted.
Hoto aheres v'shamayim vayaren keren li'amo yanucho asira ibnei Yisrael al hiro.
like to invite Lisa, I know it's unexpected, but as Vice President,
and Linda Karp, our president, to share greetings from both congregations.
thank you.
Shabbat Shalom
Shabbat Shalom.
to everybody that is here and those that are watching from home. I do want to acknowledge Tom, our musical accompanist, and I certainly want to welcome Cantor Jackie Menaker for sharing Shabbat with us, and on behalf of Rabbi Feshbach and myself, to welcome all of our members from Beth Israel, all of whom I know and many whom I recognize from Shirat Hayam, and it is special to share this morning with you. And I look forward to when we do share it at Shirat Hayam. Do you know what that date is?
I believe it's March 29th. It's towards the end of the
Okay.
last Shabbat.
But it's in March, and so we look
It's coming.
forward to being together again. And Cantor, Jackie, my friend, I do wish to say to you that with age comes great wisdom. Speaking from the age, hopefully from the wisdom. Just two quick announcements, and that is that we are all invited to Thanksgiving Interfaith Service of Gratitude and Hope on Monday, November the 25th at 7 p.m. at Asbury United Methodist Church on Pacific Avenue in Atlantic City. And if you do go, they are asking if we could please bring canned goods for the food pantry. And the other thing is that our Emeritus Rabbi David Weiss will be having his second session teaching a class on Tuesday, November the 26th at 12:30 here at Beth Israel. The subject is Israel's longest war full of conundrums. And if you would like to go, please just let us know. With that, on behalf of Beth Israel, I say Shabbat Shalom, and I welcome you to go, to say something to the people. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I really don't have much to say, as this was impromptu. So I just really want to thank Rabbi Fishback and Cantor Jackie for bringing us together into your holy space for this wonderful service. And I look forward to when we do it again. Shabbat Shalom.
I want to thank all those responsible for lunch. Now, lunch is not a contest. You don't need to compare how one lunch compares to another. Just enjoy the lunch that is before you. So it's not a contest.
That's right. And clergy, same thing, right?
That's right. That's right. As is the custom of our congregation, should you feel comfortable doing so, should you choose to do so, as we call the name of a loved one, we ask that you rise so that we may know that you are here in mourning and in memory. And then we will, as is the custom in almost all Reform synagogues, rise as a congregation as a whole when we reach the mourner's Kaddish itself. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men who wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother, your sister, walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give to them what you want to give to me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live on in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children who need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So in all that's left of me is love. Give me away. We remember at this time those of our congregation's beloved whose yahrzeit occurs on this Shabbat.
We'll begin with those who are observing Shloshim, and in the first 11 months of mourning. Our hearts go out to the families of Barbara Steinberg, Hannah Shapiro, Regina Jean Cole, Anita Handler, Alan Sherman, Gordon L. Geller, J.D. D.D., Carol N. Welsh, Nancy Gillette, Merle Zena Dupuy, Betty Risha Rim. We also add the names of all of our beloveds whose anniversary of passing occurs on this Shabbat and into the future week up until it'll be Thursday's date. Ralph Chasis, Lewis Gordon, Arthur Kahn, Rose Steinberg, Joseph Bloomstein, Daniel Brames, Anna Goldsmith, Frida Brown, James Castle, Carol Cates, Lillian Goldstein, Sylvia Gurwitz, Elsie Lazarus, Herman Salkow, Yetta Stone, Florence Benedict, Bernard Biederman, Sarah Sirota, and Robert Tomar.
Sarah Berger, Stella Bloom, David Brown, William Cohen, William Demko Jr., Dr. Irving Dreichbohm, Audrey Fisher, Irvin Fisher, Beatrice Gerber, Irving Goldman, Gussie Goldstein, Marcella Gosen, Edward Gottlieb, Jacob Herrick, Nathan Hofheimer, Bertha Karp, Lillian Martin, Robert Meyerhoff, Emmanuel Pizetzner, Richard Reynolds, Harold J. Rich, Bessie Robinson, Rita Rose, Yanita Rosenbluth, Richard David Sable, Gertrude Sagransky, Miriam Scharf, Nathan Siegel, Edna Servetnik, Sidney Schaller, Milton Shore, Samuel Weiss. During this period of Shloshim, the 30 days following their deaths, Harold Kelly Moskowitz, Rabbi Dr. Leonard Kravitz. The memories of all of our loved ones are with us. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled as we turn to Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, page 598, and we rise as a congregation for the Kaddish prayer itself. Yitzgadal v'yitzgadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma tivrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayei chol u'vyomechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'ahala u'bizman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei almaya. Yitvarach v'yishtabach v'yitchabar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yithalel v'yitabal shmei t'krisha v'reichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechmata, da'amiran me'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemayim, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'brama, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. The source of peace, send peace to all who mourn in our midst, all those who are suffering the pain of loss, in all congregations and all communities everywhere, and together let us say,
Amen. Amen. As we conclude our service, we join together, our voices strong, our hearts intertwined on page 625 in the brackets. I'll never forget that now. Let's join together. Let's sing Adon Olam. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'Terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Le'en Nazar, B'Chemto Kol, Azai Melech Shmo Yikra, Be'acharei, Tichlot HaKol,
כל הזמן מלאכת מניקה, ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימות לרב, הוא היה בחור, והוא יהיה בתפארה.
I didn't realize we were out.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you. You like the keyboard? Great. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. You know, we really have a nice.
I
tell you this, my grandchildren were in Kalani, are in Kalani with
yes.
you.
How old are your
They
kids?
love you, lick them all.
Oh,
So you're like in
course.
between mine.
Oh,
They,
of
oh
course.
my God, they.
I'll be back. I'll be teaching in the third
Well,
trimester.
Miller's away,
Oh.
but Noah.
Oh, Noah. Yes, I just met Noah last year.
Yeah,
That's right.
she loved the classes. Well, she did really.
Well,
The
great.
kids just gravitate to you.
That's very kind. Thank you. Thank you very
My
much.
feeling is that I have good days and I
My son just turned 40.
Hey, Tom, his son's a watcher.
Tom, thank you.
Tom. I know.
Was he perfect? I know.
We didn't, we only had a half an hour to get
I
there to
know,
talk
I
through
know, it's
things.
a shame.
But stuff, you know what?
Perfection is never the goal.
That's right. That's what we do.
Interpretation and coordination.
So great to hear you.
Oh, I love seeing you. I'm getting better.
Thank you, sir.
I think you saw me, I was on a walker.
How long ago was it? Now I'm losing track of time. It was in the summer or early
Dinner,
summer?
we had the singers there, and Abby was there, and you were there, and I was in the That's what I'm doing.
No, I don't think I've been there.
You were there with me.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember there was four of you up front, and the piano's up on the stage behind you?
Oh, that's right.
We
We're at the
rattled that because
JCC.
it was kind of getting out of control.
Oh, it was
Oh,
that's right, the
that's the thing, yeah.
JCC thing. Yeah, it was a little kind of chaotic.
Pretty wild.
So you helped kind of keep that together.
I hope you feel you're making
Yeah.
progress.
Yeah. So, I did your 55 and in school because I'm 54 and I'm in a grad program for nurse practitioner. Psychiatric.
Oh,
Mental health
I'm
practitioner.
serious. Oh my. Well, the piece I didn't emphasize was you find that in you somehow. It's so much harder. I'm finding things very, very, this year especially. I didn't want to be a downer. Like, I'm like, but acknowledging, I think acknowledging that we've changed once we get in there, I think that was the biggest shock. In the first few years, I'm like, I'm like this. And then I hit such a wall.
Yeah, when I
realized
started
I need
needing
to
reading
rest.
glasses, I was like, oh shit.
I needed to rest. I can't, there's no studying through the night because I gotta
Oh, no.
be asleep by 9.
Yeah,
So,
same.
anyway, but I appreciate that very, very much so.
Before I went back to school, I was really scared that my brain had turned to Teflon and the information would hit and
Yeah.
slide off. I was really scared, but it didn't happen that way.
And there may be times, like I just, after I'm at the end, close to the end, I'm finishing up some requirements, but I got my comments back on my thesis. And that made me feel like I went too
You're
much.
getting
And I had to take a whole week not to just like go, I know this is part of the process. I can
So you had to
myself.
revise the whole thing, right?
I would say
A good
so.
amount.
A good amount. It's more, it's not edits.
No,
There's
it's-
revision.
it's
Yeah.
more
So
brain work.
that was this week.
More
So
brain work, yeah.
so but I think it's a real thing. And I think that we can maybe it's a pep talk for me as much as anybody else, but that we can do that. So and there's a lot of modeling in this community. People, live, God willing, your health is okay.
As a nurse, I can't really lift patients anymore.
Right.
And as my chosen profession, which is hospice, I'm totally out because they need you to work
Understood.
full time.
Right.
It's always full time.
Right. So you
It's
can't make
just
accommodations for certain
No,
things.
no.
She practices on me.
All right, well, you're lucky. That's it.
Well, it's great to see you again.
Wonderful to see you. Thank you. It was